The Yeti Radio, powered by DavidLeeImaging.com. David Lee Imaging in the Titletown Music Archive and the Live 365 app. Welcome to the Backstage Lounge on the YetiRadio.com.
Welcome, everybody. I'm the Yeti. It's the Yeti Radio, and you are in the Backstage Lounge live with Apex Nemesis. Starting off, we're going to have a song called Concussion by Apex Nemesis right here in the Backstage Lounge. It's the Yeti Radio, live in the Backstage Lounge with Apex Nemesis. Mr. Steve, Mr. Chuck, Mr. Chris, and Mr. Doug. How you guys doing?
Good, thank you for having us.
Microphones.
Good, thank you for having us. I'm Steve.
I'm Doug.
I'm Chris. Nope, that's not working. We'll have to one mic it again.
Okay.
I don't know what's wrong.
So,
it could be my amp. Sorry about that.
I am Chris. I'm Chuck.
So, who's original and who's not original? Or is everybody original?
So this started with Chuck. Chuck used to play in a band called Malo de Dentro, and at a certain point they changed stylistically. Is that out of line for me to say?
Yeah.
How?
No, it's dead on.
And he decided that he wanted to go a different, heavier direction, and so he put out the feelers for people in the area to do something heavier, and I answered a Craigslist ad. So I guess the core from 2016 has been me and Chuck doing it. And then further on down the road, we went through a couple of different drummers until we found Mr. Doug here. And then my good friend Chris, him and I used to be in a band called American Gods about a decade ago, and he just moved back to Phoenix recently to, deal with life. So asked him if he wanted to play bass with us, and so now I've got one of my best friends in the band with two other guys that I think are okay.
Just okay.
Just okay.
Yeah, all right. It's the hair.
So where does the name Apex Nemesis come from?
It's weird because it started out kind of like as sort of like it was an amalgamation of like the highest evil in a certain sense. Like, it's so funny because it comes from such like a metal background, but it's so up its own ass that it's kind of like an inside joke. Like, Apex Nemesis, like you have like the Apex Predator who's like the top of the food chain. You have like the Apex Nemesis to be like the top of like what evil is. But like, we're just four guys on stage, doing your mom jokes and heavy music. So, it's like, the meaning is there, but it just kind of is an arbitrary wrapper for what we do on stage.
Okay. Very cool. I like the name. Good job on deciding on it. So how long has Apex Nemesis been?
The current incarnation, Chris, when did you join? So Chris was in 2 years ago. Chuck and I have been kind of grinding away at this since 2016.
Okay.
We deal with different bass players and drummers since then. When we had someone fall out, I would go home and like program drums to try and get the songs, together, so we at least had something to show for. We've played shows together with, other friends filling in on different roles to go out there and at least get our name out there so that we could find other musicians to play with. Like, you go to a show and like, you guys don't have a drummer, you should get a drummer. Like, if you know any drummers, we're looking. We've done everything from having no drummer to having no bass player, but still going out and trying to play shows and just having a good time.
Right, absolutely, and it happens because as many bands as there are here, like I knew of one drummer that was in like 4 or 5 different bands.
Is that Zach from Symphonic?
Well, that would be 2. It'd be the young man from Arsenic Kitchen.
Oh yeah,
I know he was in quite a few, and I'm just like, man,
those are awesome.
Yeah. I said we've got a great scene. There's a few things that are missing from it probably being the best ever, but it's all in all, it's a damn good scene. It's too divided, but I don't think that's anybody's fault. I think that's just because of the size of the valley.
I think that was something I noticed, like when I had gone to Austin years back. Like, I grew up in Phoenix, and so like you have like these 5 different cities that kind of bleed into one another. So there's no real central location. And then I went to Austin and kind of had like reverse culture shock because they have like a downtown area. They have all their music venues in a spot, and you're like, yeah, that's what's kind of missing from here is like we can't like all kind of like come together because of the fact we're so spread out.
Right.
And you could do a tour of our own city where you're doing like Mesa, Phoenix, and then Goodyear, and have a completely different crowd each time.
Right. Yeah, I can do a different show, different area for a month and then have to do an oil change.
Yeah.
Because it's a shit ton of driving. But again, with the 2 from Washington, Pioneer Square, another great example of how, there was more, but that was a hub. And I think that's something we're possibly missing.
Well, I think like you had mentioned earlier, like before the show, we were kind of talking about different venues and the Mason Jar was brought up. And, when I was coming up as a musician, like the Mason Jar and Boston's, and I want to say there was like one other one that kind of seemed like the core of the scenes in those different areas. Like Boston's was kind of like Tempe, Scottsdale, and then the Mason Jar was Phoenix, of course.
Early 2000s.
Yeah.
On that one.
Well, that was the early 90s.
By the way, Franco still owes me money.
We don't hold grudges here. But you know, like I feel like with COVID and with the different venues that kind of go back and forth and come in and out of style, it's more difficult now to try and find a foundation to kind of conglomerate around to have that. Like, you know, the 44 exists, and that's, you know, finally set up roots. There's the Starlight and there's the Blues, but beyond those, everything else is kind of like a in between, if I'm not out of line saying that. Like, you know, like those are the ones that have the reputations right now as being kind of like the higher scale.
Right. And it's tough because, you know, doing even what I do, trying to keep up with everybody.
Yeah.
And different areas, and it's tough. So where is everybody from? You're from Washington.
I lived in Washington. My mom lives there now.
Okay.
But originally from Fort Worth, Texas,
Okay.
the Dallas, Texas Metroplex.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Military brat, so I just everywhere. I just say the left coast. Spent the majority of my life here in Arizona, though, so I might as well be an honorary native of
Okay.
Arizona. But
Air Force brat.
Air Force brat, yes,
Okay.
sir. Did our tour of duty in Alaska for 4 years, so I literally walked to and from school in 4 feet of snow. Uphill both ways, yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. And
Here you did it uphill in sand both ways.
yeah, maybe killed some brain cells, and now I'm a bass player.
And what part of Washington?
Tacoma.
Tacoma. Okay.
Yeah, Tacoma
Yeah.
area. Yeah.
Yeah. They definitely did some partying back in the day there. That's.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The scene there was great too,
Yeah, definitely.
for sure.
So, what's been? Well, I think I know the answer to the question, but anyway, what's the biggest highlight? Some of the biggest highlights for the band so far. The last 2 weeks. Well,
I'm gonna say, making it to the dance on Pladio was great for us. Yeah, thanks very much.
definitely
to
was
KPD.
rooting for you.
Yeah, that was fun. Honored, to be a part of that, and being able to. We were just talking about on the way over here, being able to muster, and get everything together and play that show with, basically an 8-hour
Yeah, we didn't
notice.
wake up thinking we were going to play a show that day.
Right? Yeah, we were actually pretty surprised, So that was cool. A couple weeks before that,
Damn it.
we made our mark at the whiskey. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. You having trouble with the mic there?
Yeah, that one doesn't want to sit up in the mic.
Okay.
Again, my new cables will be here tomorrow.
I don't know where I cut off. Yeah.
You did the whiskey.
Yeah, so we, a couple weeks ago we played, or before that we played the whiskey, which was something that
Bucket list.
I was wanting us to do, to be able to go there and experience that as a team, and kind of a bucket list for us. So that was really cool.
How'd it go?
It was good. The kind of the standard, hanging out in Hollywood, and, sitting in that green room at the whiskey that's, slightly sticky and a little weird, and for, 6 hours or waiting to go on and just kind of just experiencing that whole like Hollywood scene with a lot of the people that have been, doing that, that whole thing, for 30 years or whatever it's, or
Right.
35 years and to kind of like, get back in there and be a part of that and just kind of experience it all was fun. The playing there, that's my second time there personally, and I love how professional the staff is. Obviously, the sound men are like, top of their game. And the stage manager is like, super gracious and, and runs a tight ship. And so that's always really cool to be able to experience, what it's supposed to be like, and and the sound on stage for us was just unbelievable. We're just surrounded in a blanket of our own, sound, and it just really helped us all play even better. And it was a really good time. Got really good crowd response, was good. The guys from Tantric seemed to dig us, which was nice, and they put on a great show as well. So all in all, it was totally worth the effort for us. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, I can imagine. Unfortunately, due to I'm supposed to be there next weekend for the 2 nights because we have a lot of people going. Show Me God's playing on Saturday, right. But I'm not able to go this time, and I'm heartbroken because that was it is a life experience, and
you're going to deprive Hollywood of the Yeti?
I vote no on that.
You should have some big guy out there with your mask on just to take the place of
maybe
the Yeti's here, or have him put your head on stage like Yeti's here in spirit.
Yeah, get Michael to take one of the mannequins and put the costume on it and just set it on stage. Last time we were there, somebody took a video of my daughter and I and posted and said even one of the opening bands even brought a Yeti. I was like, that's crazy. But the experience, I'm there with you. It's amazing, and they do it right. I'm not saying anybody here does it wrong, but it's the whiskey.
It's an institution.
Yes.
They have a pedigree, so it's nice to see what that is.
So, who inspires you musically? Who gets you doing what you do? What got you started? Well, how long have you been playing?
We'll go down the row on this one. I've been playing for 30 years. It started off in grunge, and then it went into metal, and nowadays it's Devin Townsend and a lot of just weird eclectic bands. I'm trying to think of off the top of my head, like Hypocrisy, Fear Factory, Meshuggah, that kind of stuff. Soilwork, melodic death metal, metalcore. It's like it's all over the place. If it's done well, it's good to listen to. So that's my end. What about you?
Well, I first got introduced to drums. My grandmother played fiddle for Ray Price, who's a old school country legend. And they came through El Paso, Texas. Yes, sir. And they came through El Paso, Texas. God, this had to be maybe 1979. And we met my grandmother there, my mom and I, and the drummer put me up behind the kit and said, hey, help me sound check. And from that point, I was sold on playing drums. I had been about 8 or 9. And so started there, went into school, concert band in 6th grade, and then up through middle school and marching band in high school. And then the second wave of British heavy metal came over, and I dropped everything and became a metalhead. Influences, probably to begin with, Buddy Rich, John Bonham. I know a lot of drummers say that, and because the greatest. Neil Peart, Clive Burr from Iron Maiden helped me get those triplets out there, and the bass drums. And then more modern drummers, Igor Cavalera from Sepultura, Dave Lombardo, Slayer, and then pushing forward more, even Chris Adler with Lamb of God, who is just a god on the syncopated bass drums. And so, it's a pretty rich history. I think, I was really lucky to be born when I was born and living through the metal scene from the late 70s, 80s, 90s into the 2000s. I mean, we've lived in a golden age of music, and I'm grateful that I've been able to do that. And now sharing all of my influences with these guys and playing out there live, it's just, I'm so blessed. So that's pretty much where I'm at on that.
Cool.
All right. God. Yeah. I've been playing music since the long time.
Since the dawn of your time.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure my parents were playing records while I was still in the womb, which is funny because my parents are both like into that folk music, thing that was going on in the 70s, John Denver and the Carpenters and that kind of stuff. And then everybody back then was on vinyl, so I was flipping through the vinyl. I remember this, like, I was going through my mom's vinyl collection. There was a Black Sabbath record. I'm like, what the hell is this? And it was all downhill from there.
Right?
Yeah.
Mother. I didn't know.
Ozzy Osbourne! Curse you! Yeah. So, no, like, that was sort of the thing in high school. For me, high school was in the 90s. Anyway, yeah. So a good pastime to kill an afternoon. You'd go down to like Zia Records. You'd flip around through some CDs or tapes, cassettes, or vinyl if that's your jig. And you'd meet friends and people there, and I would mostly meet punk rockers there. But I don't know, just as far as like playing music, my parents tried to teach all three of their sons piano, and that didn't stick. And I've just been around music my entire life, and after coming back, I was in the Bay Area for work, and I came back here to Arizona, and it was lockdown city, so it was, not a lot to do. And I just started collecting synthesizers and bass guitars. So big part of my influences, I'm not ashamed to admit it, it's Trent Reznor, 9 Inch Nails. Like, he's been a huge influence on my sound. Songwriting wise, I'm big into like Peter Gabriel and Kevin Gilbert and that ilk. Yeah, I'll hand it over to Chuck.
Shoot. Like, you're in the high school in the 90s. I was in high school in the 80s, so...
Yeah, 90s shit. I was already out of high school.
Oh, boy, yeah. God.
90s, wait a minute. I think I was in Pioneer Square.
Yeah. Oh, I've spent plenty Saturday nights in Pioneer Square. That brings back a lot of great memories. Seems some great bands there, too. And I loved how you could just pay, like, what was it, $6 and get the armband and then hit every bar in that, and you could get
one cover.
Yeah, one cover, and you could get metal, you could get the grunge scene, you could get some like legit blues, some legit like jazz, and and it was just that was a great place. Loved going there. So coming up, in the like playing live, and in that area during that time was interesting. I more hung out on the metal side than on the grunge side, but you couldn't, ignore, the power that, that the grunge scene, had, and the grip that it had over the area. And so that was really cool. But so that definitely had something to do with my influences, kind of hanging around, being around all that, I think in the very beginning, my mom got me into playing guitar, and I was in like maybe 4th grade, and like some church lady, was my teacher, and it was just an acoustic guitar. And I specifically remember going to her house and learning like, Summer Breeze or whatever, or the Gambler, learning how to, play songs like that. But I remember, you have an awesome record collection there, and I remember she also did, and one of the records she had was a Rod Stewart record with the girl, like an early, well, obviously early, right? But the one with the girl that was bent over, and he's, like dressed in leather, and I was like, what's that? And she's like, oh, you don't need to worry about that. And I think my, and the songs, I can't remember the name of that album, but I mean, I could look it up, but the songs on that album were awesome. The guitar playing was I was just, wow, this is cool. And then the teacher told my mom, again, it was a church teacher. She's like, don't ever let that guy get an electric guitar. Let's just stick to, and then, she saw some trouble brewing. So when I first got an electric guitar, and then the purple metal machine, the DOD metal machine pedal. Oh damn, and I just let a chord rip, and I'm like, wow, and then it just, I gave myself, the chills, just from hitting like an open E, in my bedroom on a little crate amp with that Metal Machine pedal, and I was hooked, and just started getting, into it, and I've always been into heavier music. I mean, I like all kinds of different stuff, but my heart is in heavy music, and as I've gotten older, I've gotten into even heavier stuff. So currently I'm into like, deathcore and things like that, if I want to listen to metal, but I'm also, heavily into, the electronic music. And hanging out with this guy has opened up a whole new world for me. I mean, my playlist has just gone crazy, but just like riding in a car with him for 30 minutes changes my life when it comes to, when it comes to some of the music he's introduced me to. So that's kind of where I'm at now as well. So, yeah, well, pretty much everywhere. Yeah.
Let's go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I have an interest, so
okay.
I want to know what.
The Gary Newman thing was like.
Oh yeah, a lot of people didn't know that Gary Newman's still making music. Like everyone thinks of the Cars and like the stuff from the 70s and 80s, and he's sort of like, I got into him through listening to a lot of the industrial, like the say what you will about, it's not real industrial, like Throbbing Gristle and that kind of thing, but like Nine Inch Nails, there was an interview with Trent Reznor, and he's like, "Oh, I copied that sound from Gary Newman." And if you go back and listen, like, "Oh, yeah, he did." And then, but then like Gary Newman went and copied Trent Reznor's sounds like a feedback, and then so like the latest stuff from Gary Newman, if you haven't listened to it, it's absolutely just amazing. It's amazing music, very emotive. I think it's better than like. He's one of those artists that's like he's defined a genre and he just continues to define it further, even today, 30, 40 years later. And all of this, it's like heavy music. You as far as like the metal stuff goes, for me, I'm sure all of the guys here have heard remember the first time you heard Blackwater Park from Opeth? It was just like, what the hell? My brain just exploded, So it's I'm all over the map. I love jazz. I love Dave Brubeck. Chick Corea. I like watching more than even the finished records. I've always been fascinated with the process, and so I love watching videos where it's like, especially with like top tier jazz musicians, where they're like, okay, this is the motif, and then I want you to like go here, and like the way it just all comes together in the span of a half hour. It's just like that's always fascinated me. And I just sort of, that's how I approach music. It's how I approach artwork. It's how I approach jiu-jitsu. I got into jiu-jitsu about 7 years ago, and this is going to come up. This is going to come up. Yeah, I got into jiu-jitsu as a way to like get out, do something besides work myself to death. I wasn't doing music while I was in the Bay Area, so I needed some sort of outlet, and jiu-jitsu is just like, it had all these meta lessons that I could apply. And it translated really well to when I got back into music. Chuck is practicing jiu-jitsu now too, and it's crazy. Unless you train jiu-jitsu as a musician, it's really hard to communicate.
Kind of like a football player taking ballet lessons.
Exactly. But there's a lot of parallels in music and jiu-jitsu, and mentality is a big one. Tenacity. Really like equal parts of like finding a motif or something that works, but also knowing when to let go, when to not hold on to it with a death grip,
Physical stage presence.
Yeah. Well, that's the cardio is huge too. Yeah.
Well, yes. You go up there and doing what you do. It's just like
But to get back to the music side, I'm just all over the map. The stuff that I've introduced to Chuck is a lot more the electronic side of things. So Gary Newman, I go to a lot of the electronic shows when they come through here. So Health is another one. They're all over. Like, I'm surprised Health isn't bigger. Honestly, they were featured in a lot of video games, like the Cyberpunk video game. They opened, I believe they did some tour with Nine Inch Nails. But they came through here, and another band that they were touring with, Pixel Grip out of Chicago, just an amazing 3-piece. It's just, you go to shows, and hopefully, if you're lucky, you'll find something that sort of like tickles your brain, and you start digging, I want to learn more about this group. And so Pixel Grip's been on rotation. A lot of stuff out of France and Germany. Gesaffelstein, another amazing producers. Completely different to Opeth or even what we do, but I find stuff in there that I could sort of like. Oh, I like that element. I'm gonna try and put that in here. And like, even on the album, I started collecting Roland 303s for that acid house kind of like wah, 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 wah. And on one of the tracks, I don't know if we're gonna play it today, but one of the tracks we feature that, and it's just butter.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. So what makes you guys unique? Stand out from everybody else? other than personalities.
I mean, there was when Chris and I were in a band, back in the day, like we had gotten to the point where you go to a metal show and everybody's super fucking serious. And I'm like, I don't want to be those guys. I want to have a good time. I want to look like I'm having a good time on stage. If we look like we're having a good time, the audience will follow suit. And that's kind of something I brought with me to Apex. And it's kind of funny because not only is there that, but 10 years prior to me joining Apex, I did stand-up comedy. And so there's like some of the jokes and some of the stage presence that kind of came along with doing that mixed in with the heavy music now kind of like sets the stage for the live show. And so it brings some levity to some of the emotion that is being presented in the songs, because the songs themselves, definitely have an emotional flair behind them, but I'm not going to go on stage and like tell you how you're supposed to listen to something, like if you want to grab something out of those from that, like by all means, but like when we're here, we're all here to blow off steam and have fun, and we hope that kind of conveys to the audience.
So has the comedy side of the house ever influenced any lyrics or anything?
No, and mainly because with this and with metal in general, it's difficult because we're all in our middle age at this point, and so like to try and have like that teenage angst you used to have and all like the anger that comes with it. It's like I get mad at traffic now, like, and I'm not going to write a double live album about traffic. So like I
don't know.
I mean, I can, yeah, but I feel like like, and as pretentious as it sounds, like the album itself is a concept album, and I'm able to like harness the emotions through that character and make it work that way, and that's kind of how it feeds into it. It's like you put a character into these situations and how you would react in those situations, and it's so easy to kind of like channel that part of it.
Okay, awesome. Well, about a little bit past the halfway point, we'll roll into the intermission song, which is called Wrath. You want to talk Wrath up a little?
So Wrath is the second. It's the second to last song on the album. This was on Play-Doh actually over the past 2 weeks, and it's kind of for us it's a fun song. It's kind of up tempo, but it's meant to be a guy who is kind of embracing his angry side, and kind of like setting down roots within that. And again, when I say it out loud, it sounds fucking pretentious. But no, we played this for Play-Doh, and like I think this is one of those songs that Chuck wrote with one of our old drummers, and it was kind of a turning point for like our style, because it was like with songs like this that we kind of like came into our own.
Okay. And I'm glad I wasn't having to be one of the judges for that, because that was insane. That whole Play-Doh thing was just crazy. I'm just like, no. This is the third one I've listened to, and yeah, I'm just like, and why some people don't learn not to submit, I don't know, but. But again, that's not for me to say. So anyway, here's Apex, Nemesis, and Wrath right here on the Yeti Radio, live in the Backstage Lounge.
in the guise. One day I hope to down in the other side. Call me a monster, call me a demon, call me a tyrant, whatever helps you sleep at night. I am the horror, I live for bloodshed. I have no conscience, my name is Red. My name is Red, a reflection of spite, an abomination made by a guardian's design. A fledgling degree, on skin it resides. Symbol of ignorance, gravestones above the dead. Call me a monster, call me a demon, call me a tyrant, whatever helps you sleep at night. I am the horror, I live for bloodshed. I have no conscience, my name is Red. My name is I've been through this hell and came out the other side. Yesterday's bloodshed gave birth to a terrible pride. Stripped of my name, alone in my stride. I live to fight another day. Nowhere will see my strength ignite. Call me a monster, call me a demon, call me a tyrant, whatever helps you sleep at night. I am the horror, I live for bloodshed. I have no conscience, my name is Red. My name is
Apex Nemesis, live on the Yeti Radio in the Backstage Lounge. Awesome song, and great choice for submission to Pladio.
Thank you.
It worked.
And I don't know. I've always been one competition-wise. Yeah, everybody wants to be number one, but not everybody can be. And for me personally, even though I strive, as long as I know I gave my best, I'm like, we're good. I know I did right. And I don't know. I think you guys did outstanding. And personally, again, had I been a judge, it would have been a little higher, if not winning. So.
Well, I think, we got feedback from the judges there, and regardless of, 2K would have been nice, but getting on the stage, one of the guys was like, I heard your song this morning, and I didn't quite get it, but seeing you guys on stage now, it makes complete sense. And it's like, that's why we're doing this. Like, because, you can, it does translate differently live, and we've worked our asses off to make sure that we are tight.
Well, and that's the thing, anything in music. One, you always make your music for you.
Yeah.
And then, two, we get that the recording studio and what you've recorded is as close to a perfect scenario as possible. But the live stage is where it's made.
Yeah.
Because that's the show. That's where you get to express it visually as well as audibly.
Absolutely.
And I think that's just amazing. And I am absolutely sorry that I missed your guys' set that night at the Starlight when we met.
Oh, no worries.
I was like, man.
When you put the effort we did into the album and, the commitment that we made to do that album, and we look at it and say, like, wow, this is our best version of ourselves. And then to hear that you guys are better live than the album, to be honest with you, that blew me away. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So that was like, okay, not only did we produce an amazing record, amazing album, we sound better live. I mean, as artists, musicians, entertainers, we could not ask for anything more than that, especially coming from people that, you know, the KUPD crew and all that who listen to metal all day long, every day, you know, 365.
Right.
That was something to hear that. That was awesome.
Give me 1 second. I need to fix that connection. It's getting ugly. So sorry this is happening.
It's all right.
I've had to.
Need the Indian standby.
Did you catch any of that?
Yeah, most of it. Enough where hopefully this works. That's I don't know what it is then. We'll just
What's that other one?
well, the cable. Hopefully. I hate that this is happening. This is embarrassing. Let me switch the inputs and see what happens here. Very embarrassing.
Did you hear me? I said I missed I played a part too long in practice today, and that was pretty embarrassing.
Oh boy. All right. See if we got it working.
Checkity check.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to go. All right. Sorry about that.
Oh, no
Technical
worries.
difficulties, and
Yeah,
it's
it
live.
happens.
So where's your favorite place to play locally? Local scene.
Yeah, I would think so. Creepsville Carnival with the place Show Me God plays out of. We've been there a few times, and if you're in the Phoenix Metroplex area, it's in East Valley, Creepsville Carnival, Mesa. You have got to check this place out. These folks have put so much work into it. It's like going to a haunted house that you would pay big money to get into, and these guys just knock the balls off it. I mean, it's an experience. It truly is. The first time that we played there, I spent a half hour walking around looking at all the different stuff that they have going on, you know. I mean, it's like,
It's crazy.
holy shit.
Yeah, it's amazing to even be able to claim to be a part of it at any point.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, wow.
Glad that building's still in use.
Yeah, no, it's so if you can, if you're in the area, get out there, see a show there. It's an experience for sure.
Yes, Creepsville Carnival is on that address now as well, as well as the Rooms Band Rehearsal Studio.
Yeah.
So it's a double address, and it is linked on both.
I gotta say, now, this is going in trivia land. Like, how Arizona are you? What would be? Doesn't even necessarily have to be around anymore. What was your favorite venue to go to back in the day?
I'm so new that I only have the stories that everybody has told me.
Joe's Grotto,
Yeah, Joe's, the Mason,
the Mason Jar,
Club Red.
Club Red,
The sets, yeah.
the Sets.
That place by Big Surf.
Clubhouse was
That was
bad.
Boston's.
Yep, Boston's, which was the venue right by Big Surf.
Cajun House was down that way too.
That's right, Cajun House,
Old Town Scottsdale.
Old Town Scottsdale. That's right. We played in another band I was with. We opened up for the Stephen Piercy project at venue of Scottsdale. It became, but
Awesome. So, if you could go anywhere and play, biggest place you want to go play? Vakken.
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 Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's the holy grail of metal bands. That's the holy grail of metal bands. To play Vakken is the ultimate goal. So
I feel like you're turning this into a wrestling promo.
Wrestling promo.
Come down on Sunday night.
Well, somebody was at the last Hellfest and was posting videos in France, and that was pretty impressive. And then Metal in the Mountains.
I mean, there's like a summer tour circuit that happens in Europe. That's like, yeah, that would be a dream to be able to do all those. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, like the Download Fest when it was happening, and like you said, Vakken and Bloodstock, and you know, like there's just so many that were happening, and that would be a fucking dream right there. But
Right. You go put in for him?
we'll talk to Travis about it. I think we're finally at a point where he did it. Like this past year, another highlight of this year was we went on our first tour, which was 9 days through Texas and New Mexico, and
I was not aware of that. I
Yeah.
have friends in Texas.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. You know, we except for the drive from El Paso to fucking Dallas.
Of course.
The
The drive from anywhere from El Paso sucks.
I mean, armpit to armpit.
Right.
But you know, like I think we grew as a band there because we got to see, you know, how we reacted in these different places, and it was, you know, we played in front of no one, but we played in front of the other bands, and we ended up in Houston playing with our good friends in Chasing Yesterday, and that was a great way to end the tour. And so like knowing that we're kind of like prepared for that in our own right to be able to do it, I guess makes me a little more confident that if the time ever does come, like we'll be ready at least from a performing standpoint.
Awesome. Got anything crazy that's happened in a show? Anything off the wall? George Jones women used to take their underwear off and throw at him, and
So
somebody been over and the ass splitting their pants.
I mean,
or-
one of my favorite from the tour was like we did this. What was the Dallas venue?
Oh, the giant barn.
Halton Theater.
The Haltom Theater. And like we got done with the Haltom Theater, and we're like, we're gonna go to Taco Bell. And so we drive into Taco Bell, and it's an Escalade with our U-Haul attached to the back of it. And who was driving? Okay, so Chuck was driving, and Doug can't see without his glasses. So it's like midnight, 1 a.m. He gets out of the car, walks around, and is standing 2 feet from the Taco Bell menu, yelling into the thing, ordering at 1 o'clock in the morning. And God bless that Taco Bell. They got everything right.
How did I know you were going to bring it?
Because that's how boring we are, that you standing in front of a Taco Bell sign is the highlight of tomfoolery on our tour.
That is pretty freaking
You know, like,
Seeing
hold on.
Here, I got a minute.
Thanks, Steve.
Some of the I was gonna say, I mean, when I think about our shows, some of the reactions of the people, the looks on their faces when Steve, you know, opens up with saying something, you know, like the first time, I think this is always gonna stick in my mind. We were in Houston. It was the first time we did that show in Houston. And there's shitloads of people there, and it's an all ages show, right? Which always scares me when I see it's an all ages show. I'm like, fuck, I know Steve's gonna say something, you know, right? And I don't want to get in a fight in Houston, but whatever.
Now you do.
And, yeah, well now, yeah, actually, it would be kind of fun to get in a fight. You know, post jujitsu, yeah. Anyway, so that's yeah. So
well, you're going to a metal show, even if it isn't
Well, I
all
get
ages.
that, I get
so
that, but yeah,
you
so it's
gotta.
just the
There's some
look.
realization there.
Well, we get on stage. The place is packed. There's kids all over the place in there, and he's like, "We're Apex Nemesis, and we're here to fuck your mom." Just like that's how he opened the show, right? And I was just like, "Holy shit!" And you know, I looked at the crowd, and like all these kids, like, Looking at his mom, like, is this gonna happen? Yeah, I was like, holy shit. And we have that on video, which was hilarious. I mean, that's the best part of the video, man. So just like the look, I mean, that's part of our show is a little bit of that kind of comedy, and PG-13 or R, depending on who you are, level comedy. And so that's always fun to watch the reaction. And I think that's one of the things too that like Travis dug about us, like when we were playing shows for him and Penny, in the beginning, when they were together, and he would always be like, when are you gonna get to the part where you're fucking somebody's mom, or whatever, like, he just loved that shit.
He's just egging it on.
Yeah, so it's like it's turned into like a thing, or this song's about my asshole or whatever, and so that's. It's a long ass, answer to your question of, something crazy that happened at shows is just looking at the reaction of the people when they hear that kind of shit. So that's for me. I don't know if anybody's had any fun backstage, or anything, but that's been about it. Well, then that dude at the whiskey was pretty interesting, hanging out in our green room. Yeah, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I guess.
Had a weirdo.
Yeah, you gotta be. Yeah. Yeah, somebody that's been doing the Hollywood scene for the last 40 years, and yeah, and yeah, he showed every second of it. God. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Anyway, so yeah, that's my little take on that.
Cool.
I don't have any good stories. I'm the bass player. Nobody. I'm not getting any panties thrown at me.
No, you just go on stage in a Hawaiian shirt and fucking cowboy boots.
Well, that was the previous band.
No,
that's right. That's the tour. Yeah, I dressed like an autistic asshole.
Okay.
And then I saw photos of myself. I'm not doing that.
Were you wearing the fedora?
No, this is not a fedora. This is a trilby. Thank you.
Wiggle that connection. It's being a pain in the ass. Nope. Oh, damn it. I'm going to let you go take my mic off and give it to you. This is getting ridiculous. Hold on.
Why don't we introduce the last song?
So fucking sorry. It's all right, man. We're having a good interview.
We've dealt with our fair share of technical difficulties.
Can you hear me now?
No. I do not know what's going on with this shit.
Is there an off switch?
Pegging the meter.
Yeah, but it's not. There it goes.
Testes. 3 testes.
Testicles.
Well, I can't wait for the new cables to get here. God damn it. Well.
So we do have the story. This one time we were doing an interview.
Right? And the mic cables kept going up.
Kept screwing up.
How do you deal with creative blocks?
I think about the author of Fight Club, and he talked about like you need to like go out and experience the world and have something in your tank in order to express. And his analogy was like, you're not going to go sit on the toilet and take a shit if you haven't eaten. So, like, you're just not going to sit there and push.
Perfect.
So,
Right. One of our funniest moments.
So, yeah, so go out and experience things, and once you kind of have, had your fill,
You can take a
go from there
creative shit.
and take a creative shit. Yes.
Awesome. Love it. Absolutely.
To Apex Nemesis.
Right? Well, unfortunately, there's a couple other, and I don't want to. I want to have you guys back when my microphones are acting better. Please allow me the opportunity to make it up to you, because this has been ridiculous and embarrassing. It haven't happened like this yet, and I'm like, damn, it had to happen now. And but I definitely would love to have you guys back, and can't wait to get to see you guys. We got any new shows coming?
We do not. We are working on.
We got another Texas tour.
Yeah, so next year we'll be out a little bit more. We're working on a video coming up. Unfortunately, December is kind of a dead zone for all of us with the holidays, trying to
Right.
navigate that with everybody. So we'll be back around again in the new year. Definitely, again, working on a video and trying to work on some kind of like small, like weekend warrior type tours for us to, you know,
Get into position.
yeah. So
Absolutely. Well, I'll throw it out there for you if you want to come do the video premiere.
absolutely.
I just did one for Addicted, so that's really cool. We had a lot of fun with that.
That's a really good, like on this show.
Hmm?
That's a perfect thing.
Do it like an interview, except
And we're also getting our album release.
the album release is coming up. Okay,
Well, we've released our album digitally. It's
Right.
on all streaming platforms, but we're waiting on our digipack,
okay.
which is something you can hold, and the name of the album, Echoes and Violence. And Echo Violence. On the, by the way.
Ah.
1, 2,
All right.
3, 4.
It is going out. All right. It's not cooperating one bit. Echoes in violence? An echo of violence. Okay.
Not related to Apex and Nemesis, but these are just a good group of musicians and experimental creatives out in Mesa. Look them up. They're Mesa Synth. I will be there. I'm not performing this round, but if you're
Yeah.
a synthesis,
It's done. It's not. What's the name of the band again?
it's a Mesa Synth.
Mesa Synth?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Mesa. It's a synthesis group.
Okay. Sorry, it's not. It's just not. It's not cooperating tonight at all. So sorry. But we will close out this interview with Apex Nemesis and their song "Devour" right here on the Yeti Radio in the Backstage Lounge.
No consequence, no conscience. Relative demon in a place of descent. Wanting it all, but wanting for none. All he cares about is power over us. You're the monster who plays the victim. Hollow husk with no self-control. You're the serpent filling the lies out and it will devour us all. Worthless leader, no moral control. Under his feet, a scrap of nation's
It's the Yeti Radio in the Backstage Lounge with Apex and Nemesis. And sorry for all the technical difficulties. And hopefully I got a little bit of time to get this stuff fixed before the next one. And hopefully we'll have it all ironed out for when they decide to come and maybe do their video premiere release with the Yeti. And we'll have all sorts of fun. Hopefully a lot more fun, better fun, less technical issue fun, for damn sure. But it's Apex Nemesis in the Backstage Lounge on the YetiRadio.com. Thank you for joining us, and have a great evening, and see you on the next interview right here on the YetiRadio.com.
The Yeti Radio, powered by DavidLeeImaging.com. David Lee Imaging in the Titletown Music Archive and the Live 365 app.
We can all be quiet and peaceable and have a few beers together and listen to the music.
The Yeti. Welcome to the Backstage